Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Lily, and I am so happy that you are here with me today. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's video, we are going to make some journaling cards or some tags DIY. So we are going to make them from scraps of paper. We are going to stamp and distress and then ink up. It's going to be fun. It's going to be so much fun. And these are some of the samples that I have already made off camera. And I say we because gather your supplies and craft with me. But I will be making a few of them just to show you how quick and easy the process of making these will be. I'm flipping around the card so you could see the original color of that cardstock. And then once it was inked around the edges, it really gave it a lot more visual interest and dimension, even though it's all just ink and only one layer. These are two brand new stamps to my collection. I don't know if I told you that I was at Joann's the other day and they were having a sale on their stamps, and so I picked up these two. They were 50% off, I think. They are both by American Crafts, and they are perfect for the size of card that I have in mind. These are, and I'll go through all of the dimensions in just a moment, but these are 3x5. We're also going to use Tim Holtz's Distress water bottle because that is what I use to make those coffee stains on the cards. I do have a coffee stain stamp, but that just means I have to go look for it. And this was much easier. In fact, the idea to do the coffee stains came from my sister because I actually showed her what I was working on. Okay, the very first thing that we are going to do is go through our scraps. I am currently working on 3 fall junk journals. And these are a lot of the offcuts that I have from preparing the covers and the signatures. And what I do when I'm working on junk journals is I designate a box for all of the offcuts and the scraps of paper. This way, when I am building or making the ephemera for the junk journals, I just dig in to the scraps that I've already created and then take from there and then make pretty things from it. This way, it doesn't go into the heaping pile of other paper scraps that I have. They're all neatly categorized by by season. But I try to use all of the scraps and try to come up with different ideas so that I can use them. And then I also include a lot of the larger offcuts in the junk journals themselves. Okay, so I have now made a selection of some of these pretty papers. I originally did just plain cardstock, scraps of plain cardstock. But I thought it would be fun to use some printed papers just to give it more visual interest and create a background for it. And I was motioning there with my hands that these are cut down to 3x5. And this is just the size that I wanted to work with because it frames those 2 stamps just perfectly. So any size will do if you want to make 4x6 cards, 3x4 cards. You do you, baby. You do what makes you happy. 3x5 is making me happy today. We just want to make. It doesn't really matter what size. Let's just make something. It could be on a little, 1x1 square, and you can make something beautiful from that. Okay, 3x5 is the size we are going to work on. And I'm just trimming down. I thought I was only going to do maybe 1 or 2 of them to show you, but I got a little bit carried away with the papers. And did I tell you I am building ephemera for the 3 fall journals that I'm working on? If I didn't, I've just said it again. So this is what I'm doing. I do have a video linked down below of these really pretty fall Rolodex cards that I made the other day, and I will link that video down below. Again, more ephemera for the junk journals. And stick around. Up ahead, I will give you a sneak peek of the 3 fall junk journals that I am making. I am so excited because they are turning out so beautiful. And this is the color palette of the journal. I don't have any like fall specific papers, but I do have some of colors that just blend perfectly for fall or autumn, and that is what I have chosen to do. I actually just shopped my stash and went through all of the papers that I have. I was telling my sister earlier today that I don't have any more coffee dyed paper nor avocado or eco dyed paper, so I need to get busy. My favorite is the eco dyed paper, but it is a process. And I was trying to explain to her over the telephone the process of eco dyeing paper, and I don't know if she got it because it's pretty extensive. It's pretty labor intensive, I guess. There's a lot of steps for the eco dyeing paper, but I love it. I love it. Or maybe I just didn't explain it clearly. Anyway, I really need to make some more coffee dyed paper. I didn't make any this summer, and the weather would have been perfect. I would have had some nice grungy papers for the winter time. And now it is snowing. It is raining. It was summer last Friday, and then by Sunday it was winter. We had a huge, huge snowstorm, the first snowstorm of the season, but it was absolutely beautiful. I didn't go running that day because, obvious reasons, the snow. And then the gym I go to is closed on Sundays. And then Monday came around, and I didn't go running on Monday because it was snowing just a little bit, but it was cold. It was 32 degrees. And I'm a new runner. I'm a beginning runner, and I'm not prepared for 32-degree weather for being outside in that temperature. But I'm researching so that I can, because this morning I went to the gym. So I'm recording this on Tuesday, and I did go to the gym today, and I used the indoor track. But man, I got hot. I got a headache from the heat from being indoors. And so I prefer running outside. And so I am preparing, or I've already prepared all of the things I need so that I can run tomorrow. Tomorrow should be about 34 degrees, which is not too bad. We'll have a high of 54. I sound like a weatherman or weather person. Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys saw what I did here. I just inked the edges with some vintage photo. And now I'm going to take that same vintage photo and I am going to ink the stamp and then try to very carefully position it, center it nice. And if it doesn't come out, centered, if it's a little bit lopsided, that's okay. These are handmade and they should look a little bit handmade. We do the best we can, right? So nice. Now I also grabbed the StazOn ink because that beautiful stamp is just so beautiful. And I wanted a bolder and darker brown for the stamping. And I'll show you how that turns out in just a moment. But I will tell you, I need to ink it up. I need more ink in that ink pad. So it didn't turn out as bold as I wanted. But it doesn't matter because it's still stamped, it's still inked, and it looks a little bit distressed. It looks a little bit vintage, so it works. We make it work. So I was telling you about my running. If you are new here, thank you so much and welcome to my YouTube channel. But I started running in August, and so now I have been consistently running for 2 months. Whoa, gosh, I can't believe it. And I've gotten a little bit better. I am excited about that. I have a 5K coming up this Saturday, October 29th. So I've been training for 2 months so that I can do well in that 5K. My family is running. My son-in-law is doing a half a marathon, and my daughter is doing the 5K. So it's a family thing. So we all enjoy it. So you could see here how it wasn't as bold as I hoped it would be, but that's okay. I've already added re-inker to my list, or just a new stamp pad, whatever. I don't know if there's re-inkers. I'm sure there is. There's re-inkers for everything, so maybe I just haven't gone to go look. But we're going to do it again because it really. But this time I'm using the vintage photo. And I do this to compare them to see how different they are. and I like the way they turn out. So I could have used other colors. I've got every color of ink pad, but I wanted to stick with this brown. I was tempted to use one of the green colors, and maybe I will try that, see how that looks. I'm sure it'll look just great. But the colored papers, the scrapbooking papers, I like that. I like the variety of colors, and the brown, just the vintage photo and the stays on ink, they just blend really well. So I have been participating in back to my running story. I have been participating in 5Ks for many, many years, and I've always done it just for fun. Um, the real estate brokerage in California that I worked with, we did it every single year as a company, as a team. And then when I came here to Utah, all of my kids run. Well, the majority of my kids run. My daughter, my son-in-law, my other son-in-law, and so I would participate for fun with them. I'd walk, I'd jog a little bit, always just for fun. But then something clicked in me this summer, and I thought, what if I actually trained for a 5K just to see what my time would be? So right after my 53rd birthday, Grandma here decided she wanted to run. So I've been running for 2 months now. So that's a little backstory about my running. Woohoo! Okay, back to the project at hand. So you can see how these are turning out. They are looking so nice. I love that vintage feel that they have. So these can be used for more than just fall ephemera. They can be used in any setting or any type of journal that you are working on. Now we are going to make those coffee stains, faux coffee stains. And I just took my vintage photo and smooshed it on some cellophane wrapping, spritz it. I overspritzed it, I will tell you that. I added too much water. So 1 or 2 spritz is perfect. I think I did 4. And now I'm just going to use the bottom of the water bottle, and I'm basically going to use it as a stamp to make those markings on the paper. And then I lifted it too soon. And so if you do this, let the bottle sit on the paper for just a few seconds and then remove it, and then it'll allow for the paper to absorb more of the liquid that's at the bottom of the bottle. But practice makes better, you guys. So I realized that, and then it gets a little bit better. So I'm trying to go over it just so I could leave a few more detailed markings on there. So do you see how I kind of held it down just a little bit longer? And that really helps with marking those rings. So this is a great little hack if you don't want to use an actual cup or even coffee, or if you don't have a stamp. So this is where I smooshed the ink pad again and then added a little bit. Did I add water? I think I just blended the other liquid that was there. I turned away, you guys. I missed what I did. But you saw, right? See how perfect those are? Yes, the ink is more the liquid is more saturated with the color, and so it makes the rings and the markings stand out a little bit more. And just by holding that bottle in place, just a few extra seconds really makes a difference. And we are basically just adding layers to this one card without adding bulk, which is really nice, especially when you are working in junk journals. Now, I do have the tendency to add a lot of bulk to the junk journals, either with the embellishments or the ephemera. Sometimes they get really dimensional. But then I also like to create other items that create a lot of visual interest, a lot of layers without adding bulk. And this is a perfect example of that. Just love, love, love how these are turning out. So thanks sister, for the idea of adding these coffee rings on there, because I was done with I add some splatters in just a second, and then I called it done, and I sent her a Snapchat of the cards, and she says, "Hey, what if you add some rings?" I'm like, "Hey, what if I do?" And I did, and I loved it. She says, "I thought you were only going to do it to one." I was like, "No, no, girl. I love how it looks. I'm going to do it to everything now. Everything's going to have coffee rings or faux coffee rings." All right. Let me know what you think down below. Are you working along with me, or will you work after? I watched Tim Holtz the other day, you guys. I've mentioned before how I enjoy watching his lives on Saturdays. Sometimes I work Saturdays, so I don't get a chance to watch it, but I do play it. I do play it back when I'm able to. And this recent one that he did was over 3 hours. I want to say it was 3 hours and 45 minutes. And he made a very valid point. And he said, if you have time to watch my lives that are over 3 hours long, then you have time to make. And he was referring to a lot of people or makers that say they just don't have the time to make anything, or they're running out of time, and the holidays are right around the corner. And so, but he made a very valid point. If you've got time to watch my lives, you've got time to make. So I say the same to you. I totally agree. So grab some scraps, grab some ink, and let's get to making. Let's use stamps that we haven't used in a while. I'm doing that too. So coming up, because I'm still working on ephemera, I'm going to pull out some oldies but goodies and continue with the building ephemera for the fall junk journals. And I'll do a little video of that as well. But when Joann's is having a sale, you just can't pass it up. Okay, did you see what I did here? I smushed more ink onto the cello bag, spritzed it with water, and made a little puddle. And now I just grabbed a paintbrush, and I'm saturating it with the liquid, and I'm just flicking it on the cards. And that again adds another layer, more dimension, and more visual interest. And you can also stop. You could have just inked around the paper and stamped it. That looked good like that. And then you could have also stopped at the faux coffee rings. So you can go and create as many layers as you want. You can make them simple with just a couple of steps, or you can keep going. And I'm sure that there are a lot more things that I could have done to this. And in fact, I do. I do add one more detail to these cards. I've learned recently that a lot of people don't like to use those yellow cloths because of the feeling. All I can say is it just lets me know how dry my hands are. That's it. So every time I use them, I go put lotion on. Okay, that's just a reminder that I need to put lotion on my hands. It snags. The cloth snags on my hands, and I don't know why. They don't feel dry to me, but that yellow towel tells me different. Okay, so even though this will dry fairly quickly, I had my my heat gun close by so that I can just dry it up so we can continue to work on this one. Did you guys notice that brown one, the brown tag? I added more splatters. That one was done. That was my sample that I worked on off camera. I added more splatters. I put it in the mix and added even more things to it. So I just got carried away there. Oh, I do two more things. Okay, so this is one of them. I did round the corners on some of the cards. I like the look of either or. So I can do the straight corners or I can do the rounded corners. I love the look of both, and you can see here the two different samples. And so I did a few. I did a few without the rounded, and then I rounded some. Entirely up to you and what your preference is. I like both. I happen to like both of them, so I did both. So I'm just going back and inking those round corners that I just cut. I think that one is one of my favorites. That one, that yellow one, beautiful. Literally, it's literally beautiful. But that orange one in the lower left-hand corner, maybe that one's my favorite. You guys, I love them all. I love all the colors. This is nice. Oh, you guys, this is, okay, this is the last detail I add. I'm telling you, you could stop or you could keep going. This is a new tool for me. It is a tracing wheel. I picked it up at Joann's in the Notions section. And I was inspired to use this, and I hope that you could see the little detail. I know it's kind of tough, but believe me, it's there. That little detail around the edges, that faux stitching look that is created with that tracing wheel. Oh my gosh, blew my mind. So there is a maker. She is a card maker. She's a designer. She's got her own line of stamps. Her name is Anna White. And my sister introduced me to her. So I have been binge watching her channel now for days or for weeks. And she uses a tracing wheel. And sometimes you just can't get to the sewing machine, or you just don't want to. You want to add a different look. I do have stamps that have faux stitching, or sometimes I do enjoy stitching, but sometimes, you just can't get to it. So this little tool blew my mind. I didn't even know it existed, and that's because I am not a seamstress. So this is like a sewing tool. I don't even know what it's used for, but I do know that Anna White uses it, and it looks amazing to add that faux stitching to your cards. It is such a nice little detail. So now I'm adding it on everything, you guys. So if you no longer see stitching in my projects, this is why, because the tracing wheel has replaced the sewing machine. But I love it, and the really nice thing about it, this one was only a couple dollars. There are others that have an ergonomic handle that will cost you, I don't know, between $6 and $7. But this one for $2, bring it, bring it. And Anna White, if you guys don't know who she is, go look her up. Anna, A-N-N-A, White, W-I-G-H-T. She is amazing. She's a card maker. I love making cards. I have learned so much from her, from watching her make her cards, and how she uses watercolor. Oh my gosh, she is just so talented. I just love her so much. And so again, I've been binge watching and just learning a lot of little things from her. And I'm kind of practicing and making some cards, because I love making greeting cards, you guys. So maybe when I'm done with the fall journals, maybe after Christmas, maybe after fall, maybe in the new year, I'll make some greeting cards in Anna White's style, because she's so freaking awesome. All right. So I hope you're able to pick up on that. I know it's pretty tough here on screen. Even as I'm looking at it right now, I can barely see. But it's there, and it really does make a difference, you guys. Really does. So I'm bringing this one, because this one, it's more visible, and I think it's just because it is plain colored cardstock, and it doesn't have the pattern on the design. And did you see how I used the back of that legal pad? And that creates a little cushion so that the markings are more indented onto the paper. Let me know what you think, you guys. You guys are awesome for being here. I appreciate you so much for taking the time to watch my videos. You want to see some other videos that are related to this? I will have those linked down below. These little cards can be used as tags or journaling spots in your junk journals, and I'm going to just sprinkle them throughout the journals. And here they are, a sneak peek of the fall junk journals. I'm not going to open them. I'm just going to show you the cover, and that's just because I didn't want to undo the bows. Let me know what you think of these. I'm hoping to have these completed by this week, and then do a flip through sometime in the near future, hopefully by the end of the week or the start of next week. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, but oh my gosh, they are just so beautiful. I love them so much. It started out as 1 and then 2, and then all of a sudden I was making 3 of them. You guys are awesome. Let me know what you think down below. And again, thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you that have been with me for the years I've been here, 2 or 3, I think. Whoa, 2 or 3 years. And then thank you for all of my new subscribers. I appreciate you very, very much. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.